transcendent water, we finally made it! Oh, this must be Fontaine's port. Wow, everything looks so advanced in Fontaine. Paimon's heard that the industry here, just seeing the sights as a tourist is nice, but maybe it would be better if we found some... What do you think? Good idea! Nahida gave us loads of useful information. Seeking out the Seven is probably still our best source for information. Yeah, the more we can learn, the better. So, what do you think the Hydro Archon's like?
Or his family. I was expecting a sudden plot twist, but it's a pity that it never happened.
Excuse me. Can I help you too?
Hi. We're travelers new to Fontaine, and we had...
Play? Oh, no. We're talking about something that really happened.
Really? Like...
The Fontaine Court of Justice is called the Opera Epiclese, or more commonly known as...
But, shouldn't court cases be treated a little more seriously than that? And...
No worries. Other visitors to Fontaine have wondered the same thing. You could say that we just don't want to waste... And as for your worries about whether the cases are treated with due reverence, we have the absolutely just and honorable Chief Justice Neuvillette, d'Annalise Cardinal, a machine created by the Archon. Between the machine and the Chief Justice...
Pure trees? Is it some kind of machine, too? Wait, Paimon almost forgot to ask you our question.
Oh, that's easy. Just go to the Opera House. Lady Farina practically lives there. You could definitely say it's her biggest passion.
I think what they mean is that they wish to speak with the Archon. In that case, I'm afraid it's going to be a tad more difficult. You'll have to...
Is the Hydro Archon...
In front of visitors. Otherwise, I might get arrested and find myself face to face with Monsieur Neuvillette.
Something's the matter. She isn't going to jump into the water, is she? Maybe we better go check on her. Hello there?
Huh? I'm fine. Thanks.
Oh, okay then. We just noticed...
About many things, actually. But there's nothing... I was just reminiscing about a place my brother and I would play when we were kids.
You're pointing at the sea. Wait, are you saying that...
No, people call the waters around Fontaine a sea. It's actually just an inland... And no, I can still see that hill clearly in my memories. Now, it's... He would skip and jump, tossing sand in the wind. But now, the water is gradually...
We've had the pleasure of meeting. Are you Lynette's new friends?
Oh, and you are?
Thanks for looking after my sister. She often comes here to reminisce about our... Oh, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Linny, and this is my sister Lynette. If I had to guess, I'd say you must be travelers from...
Nice to meet you! Paimon is Paimon, and this is the Traveler. We just arrived... We were just talking with your sister.
I see. It's unusual for Lynette...
Oh, really? Then you two are just like us! Paimon's always the one talking for some reason.
I think my brother can be too talkative at times.
Seems you were right, Paimon. We are quite similar.
So, what did Lynette mean just now when she said that the water is engulfing your...
Oh, that. It's from a prophecy that's been circulating. Well, I suppose prophecy isn't exactly the right word, because that implies a certain amount of uncertainty. Where to begin? Let's put that question on hold for a moment. We still have... And hello, Paimon.
Hey! Why didn't Paimon get a handshake? You're not poking fun.
Please, don't take offense. Just consider it a sort of etiquette.
Oh, all right then. By the way, we were just getting ready to go to the opera house.
So you're going to see Lady Farina? No problem at all. In fact, I was Please, follow me. You said you were going to see Lady Farina? Well, it seems Lady Farina has come to see you.
So, she's the Hydroarch?
My dear people, rich and poor, those with cup in hand and those with nothing at all, raise your glasses in celebration. If you don't have As you can all see, two unfamiliar travelers have arrived in our nation. Come, let us make a toast in honor of this traveler and her companion who have journeyed here from distant lands.
Is she talking about us?
With other nations. But fear is for insignificant cowards. I am a god, and I will never entertain the notion of course, seeking an audience with me is the most sensible thing to do. I, Focalor, hereby welcome you to the nation of Hydro.
Yeah, Paimon still can't believe it. Feels like we've only been here for a few... But the Hydroarchon's entrance was, how should Paimon describe it? A little over the top? Miss Hydroarchon? How did you know we were coming?
I see. As Outlanders, you inevitably lack...
All those stories are about. Lady Farina.
Ooh, I've got to see this. I knew Lady Farina would never disappoint.
Yes, but don't get too excited now. You may consider this my reward. An epic duel between...
Now she wants to fight? Aren't we getting a little ahead of ourselves?
Justice. I shall face this traveler in another kind of duel. A duel in court!
Right. This is Fontaine, after all.
Why do you care so much about the crowd's reactions? Seems you've spent... Besides, how exactly do you plan to have a duel in court? You mean you're going to put us on trial?
According to Fontaine law, no one is permitted to release any flying objects within Fontaine city.
Oh, so that's what they've done wrong.
You call that obvious? What kind of lies?
Precisely. Now, then, in the name of the Hydroarchon, I order your arrest.
My apologies, Lady Farina. I don't mean to spoil the... I don't think that Paimon here meets the definition of a flying object.
You tell her, Linny! Finally, someone who's not crazy. How could anyone...
Great magician Linny, my
As a magician who just rained on your parade, I naturally should shoulder the responsibility of... So, with such an audience gathered here...
Ta-da!
What? What's that on Paimon's back? Hey! When did Linny do that?
Amusing. Very amusing, Linny. Just the sort of unexpected twist that I...
Performance? You see all this as a performance?
In which case, consider the matter of your trial resolved. But when there are valid grounds, but even the gods of other lands. I look forward to seeing your upcoming performance.
How the nation of justice holds trial after trial, this sin cannot be... Until one day, the water levels in Fontaine will rise, and the sinful people will slow. In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain.
That sounds pretty gloomy. Huh? What's wrong with her?
She's obviously a thief. Magicians and thieves practice similar methods. We divert attention and watch her movements carefully.
Oh, he's right!
Shh, keep your voice down. We need to think of a way to catch her, but it seems she's very alert. You two can ride the lift over there and wait up top. I bet that'll be her escape route if she tries to run. All right, let's go.
This is the spot where Linny wanted us to wait. Oh, look! Isn't that her? Oh no! Did she notice us? What should we do? Should we chase her? You're right. She might Nothing's happened for a while now. Paimon wonders if Linny caught the thief. Yeah, let's go.
Are you sure that's all she took? You should check to...
No, that was all. Oh, I can't thank you enough. I didn't notice a thing or... Anyway, I should be going now.
Oh, were you returning what the thief had stolen?
That's right. Pity I wasn't able to catch her. She distracted me by dropping the thing she stole.
I saw the general direction she went, but Linny twisted his ankle, and I needed to make sure he...
Oh, did you get hurt, Linny?
I'll be all right. It's just a twisted ankle, that's all. In fact, it's feeling better already.
If you want to play at being a hero, at least try not to get hurt doing it. Imagine what...
You're right, you're right. Sorry, Lynette. I have to admit that the thief was even more skilled than I had anticipated. But at least we were able to get the stolen items back, so it wasn't a complete failure.
What a slippery little thief. Guess things turned out all right in the end, though. Linny's initiative paid off.
All right, let's put this little detour behind us. We should go to the court of Fontaine now.
So, we ride this thing to go into the city? What an...
This is an aquabus. It allows people to travel, but it's pretty convenient. But the ride can become a little dull after a...
So you mean it's still boring, even when I'm riding with you?
No, that's not what I meant. It's just that, well, you... Besides, it doesn't really feel like a real trip when it's just the two of us. It's the same as being at home.
Whatever.
Guess that's what it's like to be an older brother.
It's about time for us to leave. Let's get on board.
Oh, excuse me! Aren't you the great magician, Linny? And is...
Hello? I don't believe we've...
I'm Charlotte, a reporter for the Steambird.
Nice to meet you. From the Steambird, huh? We've off...
It's an honor to meet you.
Wait, could that be the legendary traveler who's been making headline after headline in their...
Amazing! You recognized everybody almost...
I wouldn't be much of a reporter if I didn't know... Wow, today must be my day! Who knew I would end up on the same boat as so many VIPs?
So, Charlotte, what do you usually report on?
Well, when there isn't any breaking news, I mainly cover the trials at the Opera House. You can still manage to keep readers' attention as long as you tell things from, for example, reporting on how a scammer once deceived vulnerable girls into relationships, or how a financial criminal was once so poor that they ate a single piece of bread for 5 days. That's fine and all, but what I'm really after is exclusive, sensational news pieces. Well, a series of cases, actually.
You mean the serial disappearances of young women, Kate?
That's right! These stories are the talk of the town right now, and it's probably if I'm the first with a draft ready to publish when the case is finally cracked. Oh, when that happens, I bet all the other reporters will shed tears of envy.
So, what is the...
That's right. The first missing girl case happened, and ever since, after a period of time, another girl disappears. What the cases have in common, but the scariest part, is that many suspects have been arrested over the years in connection with this case, but shortly after
I'd pay any price to get her back, and then find a way to track down the culprit.
Please don't imagine that, Lenny.
Hey, we're almost there! Look!
I really enjoyed chatting with you. Life should be full of pleasant little surprises like this.
Yeah, us as well. The ride went by too quickly.
I have an interview to get to. I should get going before I'm late.
Always running around and interviewing everyone?
If you don't mind, how about we stop by my home first? Besides, I still have...
Sure, we wouldn't mind at all.
Is our current abode. Ah, Fremine, you're home. Where did everyone else go?
Oh, they all just went out a moment ago.
I see. Everyone is getting busier now that Father will be returning soon. Allow me to introduce you to my little brother, Fremine. He is a
Hello.
Nice to meet you. Paimon is Paimon, and this is the Traveler. Oh, you sound very proud to...
Lenny, could you come here for...
What is it, Fremine? Do you have something to tell me? Okay, I see.
Is everything all right?
Looks like rain.
Oh, you're right. But wasn't it clear and sunny just a moment ago? But...
I'm afraid that's just how it is here. It often rains on days where there are trials being held in the Opera House.
What's wrong, Fremine?
There's a legend about the rain that I tend to believe. It's said that a dragon of water once resided in Fontейна. Though we don't know where the dragon went, every time it weeps, the skies will cloud up and pour out rain. When I was a child, my mother told me that if I wanted to go outside and play, I should yell toward the sky at the top of my lungs, "Hydro Dragon! Hydro Dragon, don't cry.
If it's an elemental dragon, then having the power to... Let Paimon try something. Hydro Dragon, don't cry!
Doesn't seem to be of any use. It is just a legend after all.
You know, you might be a more popular magician if you understood the concept of romanticism.
Sorry, it might be because we've never met the Hydro Dragon. It rained for longer than I suspected.
Was there something you needed to do?
Yeah, some preparations for the show at the Opera House. I need to find a way to catch the last aqua bus of the day. On the day of the performance, just ride the aqua bus to the island of Aeneas. I'll have...
Are you leaving now?
What is it, Fremine? I'm in a hurry. Oh, I get it. Perhaps we could trouble the Traveler to help us take these materials to the Beaumont workshop and deliver them to the owner there? I'm afraid that Fremine can be quite introverted, and the boss there tends to be pretty talkative. Fremine has always been a little of...
No trouble at all! Don't worry, we're on the case!
Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm quite useless when it comes to such tasks.
Oh, no need! This'll be...
Oh, hello there! New customers? Looking to buy, or do you need something made?
Oh no, we're just here to deliver some materials. Here they are. They're for making... what were they called again?
Ah, these must be for Magic Pockets! I could tell right away. I've already made several orders. No need. They've already prepaid several batches worth. When they told me what they'd be using them for, I even offered them a discount. But they insisted on paying the full amount, saying that I had a business to run. It seems both their hearts and their pockets are made.
Wow. So...
I can't say for sure, but who knows? Maybe...
Hey! Is this machine what you use to make stuff here? It looks really advanced.
Why use your hands when a machine can do the work? It would be a waste not to use the latest tech.
But where does a big machine like that...
Well... It's a little complicated, but basically, everything we usually use here in the city is powered by indemnitium. It's a type of energy that's produced...
Huh? How can trials produce energy?
Well, I'm not completely sure of all the details myself. When a trial is in session, the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale harvests people's belief in justice and converts it into energy to be used all around Fontaine.
So that's what its other function is? Paimon heard that the Oratrice was created by the Ark, but... Paimon still doesn't get it. How could something unreliable like people's beliefs be... Oh, yeah! So that means the Hydro Archon relies on the machine to take the energy created by...
Even though I've never heard anyone really put it that way before, besides indemnitium, we have another type of energy called pneumosia. It isn't produced by the power of the Archon, but it is unstable by nature.
I thought I'd find you hard at work, but here you are chatting the day away. Since you're already talking...
Didn't I already promise you that I'd have the more I owe to Confrérie of Cabriere by...
Yeah, but how do we know that you won't go running off by the end of this month? I want 50%.
Seems business isn't so great for the workshop. We've already finished our job and delivered the materials. Maybe now's a good...
Hey, hold on! Before you go around trying to collect payments, why don't you... If Confrérie of Cabriere wants to poach clients from Northland Bank, that's fine. But I'm afraid you still owe the bank a hefty sum...
You're from Northland Bank. But we said we'll pay everything we owe next month. Why are you hounding me now?
Traveler, Paimon! I didn't think I'd run into you here in Fontaine. What are the chances?
We're surprised to see you too! What are you doing here in Fontaine? You didn't want to stay instead?
Long story short, I've already been in Fontaine for some time now, and honestly, things have been but it seems that fate brought our paths together today. Not only will I have some good friends either way you look at it, it seems things are going to get a lot more...
Pretty sure we'd want to avoid anything that you'd find interesting. Besides, our trip here has gone pretty well so far, right, Traveler?
Hey, you, Northland Bank boy.
Don't interrupt. It's not often I run into the traveler like this. Why don't you wait for me over there for a while?
You kidding? Aren't you the one looking for us? You really expect us to sit? Listen to me, boy. If you want your Mora,
Hey, I just said not to interrupt. Oh, by the way, traveler, the last time I took Tonya and Tusser ice fishing, Tusser said,
Hey! That's way over the line! All right, boys, let's see who has to pay.
Can you at least let me finish one sentence? Fine. Though the science, you're the ones who started it. This is an act of self-defense. You two will have to be my witnesses, okay?
I'm unsure this won't take.
Riptide! Ha! Who's next? You're mine!
What's your deal, Brad? How are you so strong if you're just a
Oh, now you notice. It's a little late, don't you think? Huh?
Now's my chance!
Huh. That was weird. I'm not sure. It's as if I suddenly lost control of my hydro powers.
Strange. How could that happen? First time Paimon's ever heard of someone losing control of their vision.
Never mind. It doesn't matter. If I want to stay sharp, I shouldn't be relying too much on my vision anyway.
So what are you doing in Fontaine, child? And don't say it's work for Northland Bank.
Well, I guess it's because I've been in a bad mood lately.
Huh? What kind of reason is that? Wait!
I don't know. Maybe I still have a lot to learn about myself. But recently, there seems to be some sort of restless power stirring inside of me. And I don't know why, but every now and then I feel like I'm in a terrible...
Maybe you losing control...
That is a possibility. I can't remember if I ever mentioned it before, but when I was 14, I fell into some... It was during that time I learned nearly all of my abilities. She was always quiet and very mysterious. Nobody knew where she... One time, I asked her why she was willing to take me on as an apprentice. Because I had awakened it, and traces of it remained on me.
But what is it? What did you...
She never explained that. But my guess is that it's related to a dream. In my dream, I was in the deepest depths of the sea, and the boundless seabed was all around me.
A whale? Oh, that sounds familiar! When we fought against you before...
That's just an abstract form of a whale that It takes that shape because the scene I dreamt of the whale has always been stuck in my mind.
So you used the whale as inspiration for one of your moves? So why don't you just go ask your master?
You make it sound so easy. Questing a duel with an official champion duelist. The champion duelists are all-powerful fighters selected from among the nation's best. So engaging in such a duel is regarded as a symbol of defending your honor. If a criminal manages to win the duel, they'll be acquitted, simply killed in the duel. Though it's rumored that Fontaine has a death penalty, from what I can tell, so really, the only people who opt to duel are those who have suffered a grave injustice and I want you to have this.
Huh? Your vision? You're seriously just giving it away?
I'm just worried that it could become uncontrollable again. I'd be pretty upset if it got in the way of my Besides, I just need you to hold on to it for a short while. I'll come retrieve-
Excuse to come talk to us again, don't you?
Whatever gave you that idea?
That sneaky guy. He said he's been feeling... Well, seems we don't have much to do for now. We might as well walk around. They are a lot different than the light novels you see from Yai Publishing House. Both have their merits, but Paimon thinks this style of novel, it's so exciting to reach the moment when the mystery is uncovered, especially in the one Paimon was just reading. You should buy a copy. Oh, sorry about that. Paimon will be more careful next time. Hey, shouldn't we be heading to the Opera House to see Linny's performance soon? Linny said that the Opera House is on there in ES, so let's go ride the Aquabus! Whoa! Now this is fancy! The Opera Epiclese. What a place to hold a performance! No wonder Linny and Lynette were like, looks like there's a lot of people standing around the fountain up at—
Oh, Archon, please bless us with a bright and healthy child. We pray.
I don't know why you always feel the need to ask so much. I'll be happy as long as our child is healthy.
I guess if they're our kid, then there's no doubt they'll turn up.
Maybe this is one of the customs in Fontaine. There sure are a lot of couples here.
Vache.
What's wrong?
Vache. Vache.
No, Paimon didn't say anything.
Welcome to the Fountain of Lucine. All the water flowing through Fontaine converges here. It's customary for newlyweds to come.
Lynette! You scared Paimon!
Linny asked me to wait here.
Right.
What do you mean? There are a lot of people here right now.
Hey, you're not trying to scare Paimon, are you? Besides, it's the middle of the—
I see. I might be able to tell. In fact, you might not be imagining things at all. I suspect that what you heard is a result of your hypersensitivity to the hydro element. Others in my family.
It's because of her sensitivity to the hydro element? But what would hearing a voice have to do with element—
When do you cry, Paimon?
Wait, what? What does that have to do with—
Just answer me. When do you cry?
When Paimon's really sad? Oh, and when Paimon's super happy. Oh, and all—
Then you should understand that tears contain your most intense emotions. Like I just mentioned, the Fountain of Lucine is where all the flowing water in Fontaine converge. So maybe what you heard was the intense emotion coming from someone's tears.
So, what did the voice say? If you were hearing their emotions—
Rather than worrying about them, we should worry about my brother first. Don't let that calm look of his fool you. He tends to get pretty nervous just—
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Traveler in Paimon, good to see you.
Are you kidding? We wouldn't miss it for the world. We've been looking forward to it.
I can tell, judging by how early you've arrived. But you're actually right on time. The audience still hasn't started entering the venue yet, which means... The Opera House has assigned seating, so you always have to make reservations.
Ooh, front row seats! Thanks, Linny!
Don't mention it. There's no need to keep thanking me.
Hey, Linny! Could you come over here and take a look at this?
Oh, I'll be right there. Seems there's an issue with the stage props over there. That's...
Yeah, we'll just go to our seats. You go ahead, Linny. Let's sit down. Hey, traveler. Maybe we should strike up a conversation with the person next to us. Oh, you little... Of course you put this on Paimon.
Excuse me, I did not realize you felt awkward. I am terribly sorry. I would be perfectly happy to chat with you if that is what you would like.
Oh, so you heard all of that, did ya? Wait, that's not it, Paimon's. Sorry, Paimon's the one who was being rude. Oh, Paimon's got it. You're also here early and...
A friend, you say? Well, if Mr. Linny would like to be my friend, I would be more than happy to reciprocate.
Oh, so you're not friends with Linny, then. Oh, this is getting more... Nice to meet you! Paimon is Paimon, and this is the Traveler! We just arrived in Fondейн.
It is an honor to meet you two. I have heard of your deeds across Tevat. And as required by proper etiquette, I will also introduce myself. I am...
Oh, Monsieur Nervillet! What an honor it is to have you here to see my show!
Ah, Mr. Linny. I should say it is in fact an honor for me to see your performance in person.
Wait, Nervillet? Could he be...
I saw you all chatting just now, but it seems you still don't know who must... Allow me to introduce you to Fontaine's Chief Justice. That seat is always reserved for him. It wouldn't be too much to say that he's the symbol of justice and honesty here in Fondейн.
Oh, sorry for being so rude just now. Paimon had no idea you were such an important person.
No offense taken. Being Chief Justice is merely what I do for work. Nearly every person has their usual reserved seat, so I'm not so special, really. And by the way, I should probably let you know, even though there's someone sitting up there in the VIP seats that has been striking a pose for quite a while now. I believe she is trying to give you a most elegant and impressive first impression. So I think you should take notice of her sooner rather than later, otherwise she may become flustered.
Huh? Oh, it's Farina, the Hydro Archon.
Very good. That is for the best. No need to pay her any more attention.
Huh? So is this what things are like between the Chief Justice and the Hydro Archon?
All right, please wait just a moment longer. I've pretty much finished my preparations, and the performance will start as soon as the audience has made their way to...
Yay! The show's finally about to start! Paimon can hardly wait! Oh, they're dimming the lights! The show must be starting! Sorry. Paimon will try to stay quiet.
Welcome, one and all, to the Opera Epiclese. I am the star of today's show, Linny. And over here is my sister, Lynette, who will be working as my wonderful assistant. Please, let's give her a warm welcome.
Hello, everyone.
I know she may seem to be a little sleepy right now, but that's just a sign that she's nervous.
Whatever.
Now, some of you may be thinking, two vision holders who can freely manipulate elemental powers performing magic is not true magic at all. So, I would like to take a moment to assure you that elemental powers will have nothing to do with what you will witness on the stage today. Both Lynette and myself have removed our visions for the show. That way, even the gods won't be able to help us.
Oh, good point. That's what makes the...
Now, without further ado, let the show begin. Lynette will now exit the stage to make some preparations. I know you might miss her, but don't worry. She'll be coming right back on stage momentarily. Oh, and before I forget, there's one more thing I should say. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. A magician's greatest skill is making things disappear or appear. The possibilities are endless. Huh? But this isn't what you came for. These little tricks, you've seen them all before. So it's time for something truly extraordinary, don't you think? This one's a little tricky. Using this water tank, I shall make my sister vanish completely, right before your very eyes. It's actually quite simple. She'll just turn into air bubbles and float right out of the top. Oh no! I told them to check all the props carefully. With the lid on, even air can't escape. An amateur magician would be getting very nervous right around now. Luckily, it's me on stage, so let me show you what a true virtuoso can do. Lynette, are you still there? Don't go too far. We don't want to use up all our magic.
Hi, I'm back.
Uh-huh.
If we could see easily through his tricks, then that would mean that his skills are still lacking. To appreciate magic, you should focus on the show happening on stage, rather than getting caught up in trying to see that which has been intentionally hidden.
Guess you're right. Paimon couldn't believe her eyes when Lynette reappeared.
Thank you everyone. I'm glad you enjoyed that performance. But our magical journey has only just begun. I've prepared even more astonishing surprises for everyone here. The magic of transformation and disappearance can go far beyond what you've just seen. I'm sure many of you are thinking that escaping the water tank was impressive enough. But Lynette is still my assistant after all. In which case, I have ample time to make all necessary preparation. So, for my next trick, I will require the participation of one lucky audience member. Please, if my assistants could bring out the magical boxes. There are 2 boxes and only 2 boxes. One is here, and one is there in the aisle among the audience. I'm sure many of our clever audience members have already guessed our next magic trick. Our lucky audience member and I will each enter a magic box. After 1 minute, we will each emerge from... Now, close attention to the box you see.
Wow! How's he gonna do this? Hey, do you think this is all magic?
Number will be generated by this random number selector. It selects numbers entirely at random. Even I don't know who will be chosen to participate. Now then, let's begin. Let me see. Oh, row 7, seat 3. Congratulations! Please, come forward. My assistant will take you beside the magic box. I'm sorry, it might be a little cramped inside, but no need to feel nervous. We've carefully arranged everything for you to be as comfortable. You don't need to do anything, but no matter what strange things may happen, if the magic is interrupted, who knows where you might end up? You might even find yourself in the Fortress of Meripede.
Oh, okay.
All right. Before I enter the magic box, there is one more thing like this. 60, 59, 50. I won't be able to see anything in the pitch black box, so I'll be relying on... Oh, and no tricks now. If you quickly count from 60 and just...
Ooh! Paimon kinda wants to...
60, 59, 58.
60, 59, 58!
That's right, perfect. Keep it going. All right, I'll see you all on the other side once you've finished counting.
54, 53, 52? Why aren't you counting, Nervalet?
I am counting in my head. I think things are exciting enough in here as it is. Merely a consequence of my identity and personality. Do not worry about me. Just enjoy the show.
Oh, all right. You looked so serious that Paimon thought you might be feeling uncomfortable or something.
40, 39, 38! Mr. Linney, are you all right in there? Is every...
Yes, I'm fine. I'm just double-checking the direction of the magic. It would be a disaster if we get sent to the wrong places. For example, mid-air right up...
Even though he's saying that, Lenny doesn't seem nervous at all. What was that noise? Did you hear it too? Not sure. Anyway, it doesn't seem like any...
25! 24! 23! What's wrong, Mr. Linney? I can still hear you moving in there.
I seem to have accidentally knocked over a decoration. I'm trying to fix it, but it's...
Never mind the decorations. There's no time for that.
No, that's unacceptable. I want my show to be perfect. Don't worry, we still have...
19! 18! 17!
It seems things aren't quite going as planned. It feels like you're all starting to count faster, but that's all right. 10 seconds and change is still plenty of time.
10!
Almost there now.
8!
Swapping two people is harder work than you might think. Even a master magician like me can't guarantee I'll get it right the first time. Hey, wait! Is this the back one? I can't tell. They both look the same inside. Huh? No, that's not it. I'll try again.
7!
Hey, slow down! Honestly!
5! 4! 3!
Whoops! That doesn't count!
0!
Ta-da!
Lenny, you're going to use magic to fix the stage now.
What happened?
Oh no. Maybe this isn't part of the show. The girl was still in that box, right?
This performance is over. Medical staff with me. Guards, secure the scene and detain all the performers. Seal the exits. No one is allowed in or out at this time.
Yes, that's right. If this was just an accident, then we must investigate the cause. But if this was all part of some scheme...
No need to be alarmed, you two. We'll get to the bottom of this soon enough. Unfortunately, the person who is in the magic box has been pronounced dead. His name was Cowell, one of the assistants in Linny's magic troupe. Apparently, the fireworks on stage ignited the ropes that were suspending the water tank, which then caused the tank to fall onto the stage. As of now, we are still not sure why we found Cowell, and after an initial search of the area, the guards have confirmed that the girl is... It appears that this incident was not merely some mishap with the performance. And there are many indications that it is connected with the case of the serial disappearances of young women.
The serial disappearances?
That's the case that Charlotte mentioned before.
I know the truth. I can see through I say that our powerful magician, Mr. Linny, is now the prime suspect for the serial disappearances case.
Huh? Why me? This whole thing was an accident.
No, this all occurred during your magic show, did it not? The missing girl disappeared after being chosen, did she not? Now that I think about it, that whole speech about magicians making...
That can't be right! How can Linny do that? He was in the box on the stage the entire time! We can even hear his voice! Besides, before the show, he told us that he would like to catch the criminal behind the disappearances! He couldn't possibly mean catching himself!
Save discussion for a later time, please. Lady Farina, may I assume that your comments just now constitute an accusation against Mr. Linny?
Huh? I just think that he... Well, I think it might be a little early to talk about formally...
But what Lady Farina said just now makes perfect sense.
A kidnapping and murder carried out under the cover of a magic show. Lady Farina said it all.
I mean, of course, my...
Stand. Charges have now been pressed, and as such, a trial is in order. Well, traveler, seems Lady Farina has set you in her sights. But putting her dramatic rhetoric aside for a moment, are you willing to act as Mr. Linny's attorney and defend... Very well. The trial will be held a day from now in the Opera House. Both sides may investigate the scene to build their cases and search for the truth. Linny and his troupe are all potential suspects and shall remain within the Opera House. The audience may begin to leave in an orderly fashion once they have been cleared by the guards.
A day isn't that long. Let's see what kind of case this big-shot outlander can build and...
Linny!
Sorry about everything that happened just now. Were you frightened?
Of course! Who wouldn't be scared after witnessing an...
Yeah, I'm a little shaken up myself. How could this happen? I know you already claimed that you would defend me, but now it's just us talking. Good to hear. Thank you so much for trusting me. I'm sure everyone sees me as the biggest suspect at this point. But if you ask me, the whole thing is mysteries layered upon mysteries. I don't know whether what happened there on the stage was purely an accident or not. And I don't know why poor Cal was in the box. As for how that girl chosen from the audience could suddenly disappear, I'm afraid I don't have any answers.
Could not have happened. Whatever happened must have been that which is possible. Paimon bought them when we were reading at the bookshop in the city earlier. Pretty cool, huh? Don't worry, Paimon used her own savings to buy them. It wasn't from our travel funds.
I think they look cute on you, Paimon.
You have good taste, Lynette!
That's the right attitude. Feeling depressed isn't going to help me now. I need to get back to my normal self. But with the guards watching our every move, it's going to be a...
Since we're going to start start investigating, Paimon has a question first. Where did Lynette go during the performance?
Oh, well, I'm afraid that would involve some of our
The secrets behind our magic are past saving.
I suppose you're right. The truth behind our tricks is going to be important. 'Tis truly a pity. As a magician, our magic show is a work of art. We've poured countless hours and spared no effort. But if revealing our secrets will help you uncover the truth behind what, we should go somewhere else if we're going to discuss our magic trick.
I see. You must be the traveler that Lady Farina mentioned. Listen, I'll be perfect.
Huh? What do you mean?
Come with me and you'll see. The deceased is one of Linny's assistants, named Cal. Even though he hadn't joined the troupe long, the assistants are usually in charge of setting up and inspecting the props, as well as assisting with the show and keeping the crowd in. As you probably saw when you were in the audience, the water tank suddenly fell and smashed the... This is the real mystery. We've already searched the scene and were unable to find any trace. However, if you look carefully, the box was positioned directly under the water tank. The ropes holding the tank were then burned by the pyrotechnics on stage, so perfectly makes it hard to see this as a mere accident. If anything, the more logical explanation is that the whole incident was intentionally planned, and Linny is the most likely person.
But he doesn't have a motive!
Are you both good friends of his?
Well, you can't say we're good friends, but...
So in just a short time, he was not only able to win your trust, but even convince you to act as his attorneys. I know there's no such thing as magic. I've seen a lot of cases, and I can tell you that people are the least reliable kind of evidence. Sorry, I tend to be pretty straightforward. Anyway, you may investigate the scene of the crime yourselves if you're curious. Who knows, maybe you'll be able to...
Whoever the murderer was, they must have... Why would it be him?
The investigation team has some new findings. Turns out there's an issue with the random...
See, I told you. What if the machine picked some big guy's seat? You think the murderer would have still made his move then?
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Linny and Lynette with their side of the investigation. What were you saying?
You're trying to help them? That'll be a tall order.
Linny used the machine to pick a random member of the audience during his performance, right? The lucky... Well, we thought there might be a serious problem with the machine, so we had it taken away for...
It turns out that the seat number it picked wasn't random at all. The machine picks that same number every time. I'm sure you already know that you have to make a reservation in advance to get a seat, regardless of whether it's a trial or some performance. In other words, Linny knew who would be sitting where from the very beginning.
That much checks out. Linny reserved our seats for us, too.
Bet you see why I was saying it'd...
So this is the rope that broke and caused the water tank to fall. The rope looks pretty durable. How can it be burned through so quickly by fireworks? Why are you suddenly so serious, Traveler? Whoa! Look! This bit is made from different material! Most of it was burned away, but there's still a little bit of it left. So if a rope meant to hold something was... Wait! Why don't you write all this down? Let's take notes!
young women of around the same age range. There really weren't any other connections between them.
Okay then.
No need to be so formal. If you do happen to see the missing girl, it is of utmost importance that we get to the bottom of these disappearances.
Lenny's still talking to the guard. I think someone... Lenny's still talking to the guards. I think someone... Lenny...
I see that you're investigating the area. Well, it just so happens that if you find any new and interesting leads...
We don't have too many thoughts yet.
Then why don't I tell you my hypothesis first? The way I see it.
The thud? Oh, you mean the sound that happened during the countdown?
Yes, exactly. It wasn't terribly loud, but I suspect that it's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Lenny's trick with bated breath, so no one paid it much mind.
That makes sense.
I'm of the opinion that it may have been the sound of Lenny's accomplice, Lynette perhaps, jumping atop the water tank, and when the pyrotechnics went off, she cut the rope, sending the water tank crashing.
Wait, wasn't the noise we heard too loud for that?
Perhaps the balance wasn't right, leading to a particularly... Oh, that's true.
That does remind Paimon, though. What was with that sound?
Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Over here! I've been keeping an eye on you for a while.
Huh? You mean us?
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns and pursue the truth.
Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you?
Have you never heard of the Spina di Rosula? From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you name it, Spina di Rosula does it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus, Demoiselle's various daily needs.
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle? What gives with the names?
Well, I am the second-generation president.
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor to...
No need. You don't have to call me boss. Just Navia is fine.
Okay, if you say so. Not that we're...
All merely trifling details. Never mind. That's right. I've always kept an eye on the serial disappearance cases.
Really? We think so too! That's why we're looking for clues now. But how did you come to that
Intuition, naturally. My unparalleled Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Lenny without any decisive evidence whatsoever, wasn't she? The justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges just to keep her from getting care. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Farina was going to back down in that situation.
Sounds more like you just don't trust the high...
Well, what's your opinion? Interesting at times, but liking her finally agree with her like it's an opera?
Well?
And why would that be? See, Silver and Melus? would be different.
Most astute of you, demoiselle. I too think that the travelers, no matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audiences expect, that if that can be done, boss.
All right, that's quite enough, Maloose. Anyway, now, I need to make some preparations, following which our jointed—
Wait! Since when did we become assistants?
Oh, well, I can be the assistant.
That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that, demoiselle, you wish to save a friend from false accusations.
Sorry, but no one can freely enter or exit the Opera House at the moment. If you wish to leave—
No, we're not leaving. We're representing Linny and— Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes. After the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone coming in or out must undergo a strict inspection. So the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not from that— I doubt there was much opportunity then either.
How can you be so sure?
Well, because I was in charge of security near the entrance at that time. I couldn't see Linny's performance from here, which was quite a shame. But still, I did not abandon my post, and I stayed put no matter how loud the applause was. We Melusines are good at that sort of thing, you know.
So, it's safe to say the girl couldn't have— All right, thank you for your help. This'll be useful info.
I will be monitoring your actions and making notes as necessary.
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull a rose out of my hat as a gift for you if I—
You may spare the pleasantries. I'm just doing my job.
You've arrived. Who's this?
Me? I'm Spina di Rosula's guardian angel. If you've got a problem, I've got— Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Call me Navia, and these are my companions. Would you mind if they join as well?
Fine by me.
Oh, new helpers? I would be most grateful.
Well, let's just say we're tagged.
Huh? Below stage?
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box. But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help.
Weren't there balloons and other—
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still—
The back? You mean the inside of the door?
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get? Exactly. All right, let's go.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box!
I knew you'd figure out most of it as soon. The 2 magic boxes. See this flatbed trolley? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other side using the trolley.
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right direction.
I see. So that's the purpose of the box inside—
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be moved.
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark.
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you—
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to the—
And what about Lynette? Where was she?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh, interesting!
That's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant. And, by the way, I was the one who—
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only—
So that's how it all worked! Wow.
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the... And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand, mysteriously vanished.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. And yet, to think that someone was able to use this magic trick. Could we have a look around? I think we can come up with...
This is the scene of the crime. So Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay here.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. I won't disappear into thin air, you know.
Thanks, everyone. We're counting on you.
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Speaking of which...
Oh! Paimon knows! It's one of those tricks where you pour water into a jar and here's a broken vase. Huh. Did the
that can't be.
Let's note this down too and think about it. This is so confusing. Paimon doesn't want to be a detective anymore. A rope? Huh?
Perhaps it was a prop for a different trick. But why would it have been left here?
Whatever it is, let's make a note. What is this place?
It seems someone could fit through here.
Could this have been the suspect's escape route?
Alone, perhaps. But if they had to pull another person with...
But there are no other ways in or out of here. Oh, you're right! Let Paimon write the...
Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime scene. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal escape through the vent?
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement.
So the tunnel's become like a secret chamber then! You know...
The plot thickens.
So if the charges are upheld, they'll announce a sentence?
That's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice and the Oratrice will hear say... That's right. This is the statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimony. To put it simply, it's as if the Oratrice has its own will, and is...
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not that this...
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. This too. Then, finally, the Oratrice will be consulted by official.
Huh?
Yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed to leave this place.
Huh? Why?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies.
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic.
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks they have a point!
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes...
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to what better way to properly think through our findings than over some tea and sweets? No snacks. Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy some, then we'll simply...
Huh? Here? But...
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
Move with you?
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the demoiselle's baking needs when...
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the ready.
Good. And Paimon thought it smelled good while it was still... From the way you had these two guys carrying all that stuff around, Paimon thought... But you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself! Beating the egg whites, grinding almonds...
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smile.
Paimon was just thinking... Aren't you worried about getting your fancy dress dirty beating egg whites?
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can... Don't underestimate beating egg weights, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to... Anyway, give these a try. Fresh out of the...
Only 3?
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send up...
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is demoiselle's... No need for concern. I'm merely doing as I should.
Could indicate some altercation between Halsey and the criminal in the tunnel, resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify.
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real
True. None of the clues we found thus far support the... But the only people left to consider are both technically victims.
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowell before making her escape?
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the... Nor does she have any motive. Specialty, after all. Yeah.
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right.
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few...
No! Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. If Paimon... How could you? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into...
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have got... Malus, set up the stove again, if you would.
Huh? What are you...
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons of stage during the trial.
All right, thanks for your help, and for the snacks.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
Please. There's no point in worrying about that now. We just need to prepare. Here, take Paimon's notes. They should help you review the situation.
Everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette. At least we will be supporting them from the stand. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well, now, don't you all look disappointed. Don't tell me that your investigation came up. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can... But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you...
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you...
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while...
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not...
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the...
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those...
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never... Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatsui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably...
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord. Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying.
Hey, Linny! Why didn't you tell us this before?
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to re-establish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the house. Are these claims true? Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, I know you've clashed with the Vitui several times before. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to— You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least—
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but... Right, let's hear your answer first, and
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute—
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreat. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so that after that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from— It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust—
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against— If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, huh? Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
Bow your head.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention, at this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that the sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linney red-handed. So Linney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stand. And there you have it. That's the truth behind.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. According to Linney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Linney went to the room that contains the oratories. Linney did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the act.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Linney did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something, the crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. And in order to complete the map, finally, he reached the surface. And that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent.
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
my reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to... Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case.
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've
Well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you... Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? You're saying that he wasn't?
Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played. To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who wasn't?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or could there have been a third person involved? The deceased's name is Cowell.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell!
Oh, is that so? How interesting!
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to... Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. It would have been tough for both people to at that moment. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The sound we heard may have come from a... No one entered or left the opera... Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from... No one entered or left the opera house through it. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. Linny was not in the tunnel at... The sound we heard may have come from a... Halsey's clothing... It would have been tough for both people to...
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see that the crowd...
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. No one entered or left the opera house. The vase was not broken by chance.
Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually. If there's a similar method...
How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is... Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend... Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But...
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at...
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased Cowell.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with it. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are... water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact...
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence.
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water? Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partner?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results. But we cannot... Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must...
The water from the primordial... The water from the primordial sea... I remember there was something... Lynette was in the magic box on stage. How it It seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic.
Ahem! It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowl would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial sea. Afterward, Cowl would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I false?
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cowl's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luck, and we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's
What?
That can't be.
Oh, I see! My loyal audience! Allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a... Linny did not need to take part in the
Oh no! Paimon can't think of anything either. It doesn't look like there's... seems using the water as new evidence was too good a move.
I believe this is indeed the finale! Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject!
Miss, I must ask you not to shout and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little... I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes.
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond...
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Linny and Lynette, give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has... But, as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the...
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So, the whole thing about people dissolving...
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me.
That'll teach you to underestimate...
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowl. I admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. it's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Linny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief! Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was on to me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and I wasn't going to take that lying down. So I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire... Lily-Ann's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between Lily-Ann. Lily-Ann was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time. Just...
And it's Ace Detective time! Having been selected out of the blue, Lily-Ann panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all... Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lily-Ann had not... He did not know that Lily-Ann was not from Fontaine, but mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lily-Ann came out on top, knocking Cowell out. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the... that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been...
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to...
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo! Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have
What? Are you reading my mind now? No. I have no further arguments. I admit defeat.
Wow! Look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box. And thus, being statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused...
I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yeah? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and...
Yes! I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to It can also be made into a potion, which, when extremely diluted, can cause people to... We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end. Even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui, I guess. But regardless, I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, It's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of... That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave,
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth?
That's right. And since we're here, I was... Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in.
So you went from orphans to...
That was how we felt at first, too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention.
That doesn't seem too bad either.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was... I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift.
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the Knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered... Father, I mean, the Knave, might have seen something in me, and so she... The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles, but she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has her own... She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find...
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the Knave, has their roots in Fontaine. And we will always defend... To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world...
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes...
It's all right. I understand. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best.
Bye, Linny!
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting... Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trick.
I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer. Well, sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind me. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal?
Well, I just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navi is treating, count Paimon in!
Oh, wonderful. In that case, why don't we return to the court of Fontaine and head to the Hotel de Boer? I believe...
All right, then. Let's have our farewell meal.
I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel.
In that case, I'll go order for us first.
Ooh, everything looks so good. People in Fontaine sure know how to enjoy life.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
And if it's not?
Well, then I'll still bring everyone.
You, sure have your own way of doing things. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but that case after all.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case...
Huh? Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more food. Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappeared?
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an...
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could...
Right? Yet it was because this was such a
If only that guy could have finished speaking! We were...
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities... It's not that I don't have faith in their ability. It's just that it's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exists. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist. To seep into the crack...
Seems Paimon thought things were simple.
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal. Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended.
I see. So, your primary objective... I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and
Well, would you consider some more, unique way?
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of...
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish what...
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan...
All right, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then, wake her... I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy,
that might work, but that's not real...
valid point. I overlooked that part. All right, no more joking around. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Why don't we give it a try after this meal?
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink? Sorry about that.
Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the... If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Nah, that would be so... normal. You know, like you.
Okay.
Hey, Navia! What are you doing over there?
Oh, Nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing this.
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again.
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing.
Settle down.
There aren't many people around. Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? Ugh. That's kinda spooky.
Vache? Vache.
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? Huh? Hang on. Paimon can kinda... Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Wait. Who am I? I'm very sorry. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst... How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water. I also remember going to many places. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. But now, we can no longer go back. No! Our reunion no longer has any meaning. The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. Perhaps that is so, as I was submerged in the waters. If only I could have comforted him. Told him that I did not suffer. Is that what you call it? Dissolving? If anything, it was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace, like the water still. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then. I think I hear your companion. It's time for farewell then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence.
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Clorand. But before I do so,
I followed you.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually—
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that
I doubt I know much more than you. But I believe that the mastermind— Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their—
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest— And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those—
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not— I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have—
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act—
I will continue investigating no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clorand.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we—
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being—
I know, I just— She's—
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were— Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious! And there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a fair— As such, we're still partners. There's no need to thank me.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula.
All right, you two.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up in the nick of time.
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off,
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed somehow?
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did that help?
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when that the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty?
So the Fanta had been spiked with water?
Yes. So if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you.
Huh! Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate, but whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger.
But why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny and Court.
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordials?
Well, it can't be coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too! But it was real faint. Does this situation, does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people who are not from Fontaine?
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel? What?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh, that... Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Could he have been... Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. Oh, you mean...
Well, you did say that our farewell... And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those...
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds.
Don't worry, you two. With us around our base...
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Very good. But let's...
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue
This is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's...
Well, our funds have been a little tight. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have...
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my
Your father... He was the...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to...
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partners, this is something I hope they can understand. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor, instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, the closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of...
so that's why you're so determined to get...
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in. However, I believe that if the murder case is real, I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend... If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a hand...
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do...
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet... all it took, even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our...
Wait! If Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious?
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one...
Wait, how could... never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused...
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent...
Oh! Her? Well, then... isn't that as good as saying that... Yeah... That's not the sort of thing that you can just let go and move on.
Miss Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent... She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but... there was only ever one choice.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I...
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to...
Afterward, Miss Cloran told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensured Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right, anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just complaining towards... thanks. You two should go and rest. This was quite a day after all.
Yeah!
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly.
Paimon slept so well. Huh? Navia? Where did the other two go?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vacher.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now, huh?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere. I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this
Does that mean we're too late, though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find...
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. Guess that's the hard-working Chief Justice for you. In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we? Aren't you coming along, Navia?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice. Head, come on.
Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters.
Huh. This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that proves...
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell.
If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave if you...
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at...
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's...
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right, then. I'll let you...
Thanks so much.
Please come in. It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
So you're not mad at us?
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may—
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years. There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was really just a dream?
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuvillette. We'll take our leave now.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel? Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine. Rain. It's raining.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials today.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think that thought has occurred to us before? We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water? And then got washed away with the... Yeah! And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. You're completely right. All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my...
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this...
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself later? Great, let's go then.
would a ship be anchored at a place like this?
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, it's actually my father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our tastes in exterior... A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. Melus, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You see, what? You still remember, right, Melus? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce...
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water...
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created... If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability... And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety, while lacking energy to do anything. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse, and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath. But no matter how much they... Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind this...
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers. Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relations. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up but then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2... You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring...
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he I think this third person is probably the key to the full truth. On that note, however, Even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as your and your father's butler, I must still... Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to... Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and...
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the... Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims, and for myself.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite...
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had, and the serial disappearances case caused him great anguish. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence, but as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take...
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful were still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared?
It's the location where Synth is produced. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take several things.
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters, nor what people we may be. But a single visit to their headquarters will be tantamount to a formal declaration of war. The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up to
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been infiltrated.
Huh. That's true. Seems my father really had no but things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected—
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Maloose.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets.
Thank you for all of that, Maloose. Have you discovered anything new in the—
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar with... When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, the first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus... There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now...
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di...
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, they provided us with... It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to...
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to... Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan one step ahead.
I see. These are all people who I communicate with quite regularly. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most. It's...
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the...
Of course. And thank you, Maloose. You've provided us with...
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit.
Aw, thank you so much, Maloose. You really are the best.
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case.
Who would have imagined that people could... Here we go again, trying to...
Please excuse me, and enjoy your conversation at your leisure.
Thank you for arranging everything for us, Maloose.
Excuse me, miss. Do you need anything from us?
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened, I didn't know how I was supposed to face the two of you.
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mora and support. I understood your guilt and apology to be...
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques?
I can understand the kind of pain that comes with losing a father so needlessly.
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift. I know only the full truth could bring closure to you, and to all of us.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that guilt. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could ever bring himself to shoot Jacques.
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought Mora was everything. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
They found out about his betrayal?
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized. I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis had always taken great care of us, both when he was still alive and after he passed. Even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense. It is impossible for me to hate him for what he—
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy if he did the right thing? Papa always wanted to be a good man, so why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
Well, things aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your Papa was a good man.
Yeah, Papa was a really good man. The best in the whole world.
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, then he must, regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword. He must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth. The current state of things is not something I'm willing to just sit—
Thank you. I'm very grateful to hear this from you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really—
You really think so? That's the first time anyone said that to me.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House. Someone got turned into water right in front of—
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth. And it'll be all the
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside, and we found some clothes left at the scene. After my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should try to reopen his case. Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling pretty upbeat that day. So he was drinking and bantering away with us. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the— But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callis was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands. All we could do was look back and forth at each other.
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guards said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But reason being, Mr. Callis had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other— About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned. Do you think there was a third person there?
At least from our perspective, My father had no reason to kill, so he would also have no reason to bring an extra gun with him. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques, or a third person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callus ended up with the gun because he seized it from one of the other guys? But hold on. If that's what had happened, then why didn't he share? He didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, and chose instead to. Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
About that, Malouse told me a thing or two. So, I think I can understand why he can. I'll tell you everything once the whole truth is.
I understand. Then And if I may just say one more thing, the whole Callus the Unfaithful epithet has been a thorn in my side since the day it was invented. Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callus, even after so many years have passed. But it was Mr. Callus's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula. No matter what others might say,
Don't worry. I will definitely find the truth. You and all our other comrades at the Spina deserve to know the truth as well. Hey, Thierry, it's me.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia? I've heard that you made quite the name.
Oh, so you've got news of that.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, you know. The way you make it sound, people would think I was sent off to...
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is real. Callus did a fantastic job running the town. Building Spina di Rosula from the ground up and clearing many. It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly... Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two friends of yours?
Yes. These two are my... What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father...
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know... If you want to go through the original files from your father's case...
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question.
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get more evidence for you.
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered guards. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would...
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mech, if I had to make an analogy. When you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible. So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both. Now that you met...
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you for the vote of confidence, Navia. Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best. I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just...
Hello. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? You can just say Navia's looking for...
Sure. I will let him know right away.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. There's no need to stress. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House.
Yes, I've never seen anything so
Oh, you were at...
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole murder mystery? I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunk.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation. Everyone loves drama and theatrics.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that humans can dissolve.
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away. Is that what you're investigating?
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can sense that the
Oh, and what makes you say that?
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from...
If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit. Wasn't it you who protected...
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that callous... But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always... If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will...
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into... Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me a while to recall my memory. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more. See if there are any valuable clues elsewhere.
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need Mora. All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support.
We've talked to all three suspects, purely based on their conversation.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation... Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were...
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Florent mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he... If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder.
Huh. So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to... Makes sense. But without evidence, that's... Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial...
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, it's quite possible. But who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Thierry, you say? Huh. It is possible that he's figured out a way to convert the Gardamex for personal, but I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha. I also don't...
Yeah, had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be able to prove it with a simple check of the guard's inventory. If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and how...
Uncle Marcel? My father did really trust him, and with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamex. It's still really hard for me to imagine, though. After all, Uncle Marcel has been around since I was... Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of Mora and energy to fight his own... Florent? It is true that he was closest to my father, but as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security.
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha army?
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, who could it be?
You know, if you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the most suspicious of them all.
Could we be missing other suspects? Maloose didn't know about the people turning into water thing.
Maloose has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. When he laid out his case for the suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to... Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things...
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes, Maloose did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we don't have any other option. We need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging in on our enemy.
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking for you.
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guards? Did something happen?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left. We've got another trial on our hands.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials? What's so newsworthy about this one?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little too well.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to do with him.
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I came to tell you the news right. If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support any of our planned investigations.
Right, because they'll think they've already found the culprit.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot harder than...
I understand. Well, partner, what do you think we... Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Just since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention, you're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make—
We'll help you, just like you helped us in Linny's trial.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Ah, Maloose, Silver. When did you two get—
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that you might require... It's our hope that your confidence will be bolstered with a...
Thank you so much. Then, let's make haste for Irenaeus. Paimon, Traveler, I'll see you at the Opera House.
See you then! Finally found it! Huh. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production base. It sure doesn't seem out of the... You're right. An important place like this is bound to have... Navia's probably arguing up a storm right now.
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged. However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear their name. Is that right? In which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight with that champion duelist Clorend, right? I've got to admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointing.
Hey! Don't you understand? You're currently—
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the ways of the Opera House. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
No. That's not what I meant.
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly, and we have made very little progress. In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of this trial is to determine the culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
That case had nothing to do with him! You've got the wrong man!
Huh? What's going on? Why is she interjecting again?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to provide the court, but that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt of court for your interjection.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless... We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to charge the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia here will be proven innocent by
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death. So, Your Honor, is there nothing else for me to do now?
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to charge instead?
That person is... Something's not right. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières!
Huh? What confrérie? Never heard of them in my life.
I've heard of them, but weren't they Spina di Rosula's...
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. Committing to and if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged with the crime of making a false accusation. Knowing this, do you still wish to charge this man?
Yes, I do.
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please take your places on the court. Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away so that he may stand trial. Mr. Marcel, you will not require an attorney. Is that correct?
Apologies. It all just happened so quickly. I still haven't figured out what's going on. I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding between me and Navia.
Very well. In that case, since both sides have now arrived, Miss Navia, please present your charges.
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago. To the case. Only through elucidating what really happened in that case can we connect all the dots for the serial...
Navia, do you really think that I was the one who killed your father? Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make everyone at that banquet a suspect as well?
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture yet.
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about that case before I can explain my charge and reasoning.
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of Cabrières. During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus, holding a gun, while his acquaintance, Jacques, lay dead from a gunshot wound. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must have missed. The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court. Instead, he chose to prove his innocence through it. Callus was defeated by champion duelist Clarande in the ensuing duel, and soon succumbed to the injuries. These are the known facts about the case.
kill was Jacques, not my father. And even so, Jacques still had no reason to... in truth, the third person shot Jacques first, and was shot in turn by my father when my father... After that, the true culprit turned the third person into water, erasing all traces of him from the scene. Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. Of course, the guard's conclusion appeared quite sensible to us at the time. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities of water from the primordial sea. The testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of it. However, in the end, he reconsidered. And unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had... This assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill him instead. A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were used by Jacques, but now it is clear that the clothes were proof that there was a third person at the scene. Since it was raining that day, the culprit was confident that they could use the rain to... Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callus was responsible for Jacques' murder.
So that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordials?
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respective motives. I guess they didn't shoot each...
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a rebuttal if you wish to prove your innocence.
Ah, but I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her speech that
Then, may I ask some questions? In my opinion, we primarily need to determine, 1, do you have the evidence to back up your claim?
I'm afraid not. At least not at this very moment.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just go home!
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes, we should be able to find a match. Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful records of all missing persons from around...
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a reasonable investigative...
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little differently today?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an...
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you describe, then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved...
I've thought about this too, and the answer is actually pretty simple.
He felt there were things that were more important. The dissolving power of water from the primordial sea is an important secret for the true culprit of the serial. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my—
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of—
What? If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the— But what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect anyone? Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice? Spina— But by staying silent, we retained the ability to deter our opponents and continue the stalemate. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and restore my father's—
So, you mean to say, your father intended to die in the duel?
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, Clarand. I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. You don't have to do anything, but since he entrusted his will to you, Clarand, you should tell us the truth about his sacrifice.
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
Yes, I did. As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of in my line of work. I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live or if they're looking to die. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions.
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's case and the serial disappearances case.
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of beside the point.
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial disappearances case?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected via a matter of— In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, they planned to act after hearing— And, at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because they realized they were the culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they were already at the scene. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I still can't help but find it a little preposterous. I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most endearing traits.
No need to appeal to Panther.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone
Don't know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigations, until— Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own daughter? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Ah well, let Uncle Marcel teach you another lesson. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me—
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high-risk action with nothing to gain. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontaine.
I do apologize, Demoiselle. This was my mistake.
No, it's not your fault.
I'm sure he had come prepared.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business life? You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable anguish?
Seems like she got the wrong guy.
At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations right now? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings and to stop rushing headlong into things, you'd have met most of his expectations.
This isn't just about me, and it never has been. The biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the serial disappearances, and many people's images are flashing before my eyes. And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vacher? Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've...
I was waiting for you to say that.
Silence!
Hey! Let's get it on!
Bow your head. Excuse me? Silence!
Let's dance. Whoa! The floor is going up! Is it because of this mechanism in the... go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up. The water level is rising! Now we can swim to the top! But this is still a ways away from where we need to go.
Let the mighty be humbled!
Look alive!
Bow your head.
Let's dance. The path is clear. Let's go.
Settle down!
Behind you! Excuse me?
Let the mighty be humble! Bow your head.
Give me some space.
After all that, we finally made it to the... Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right. Then let's hurry up and find some... Let's see what's written here. Nothing escapes Detective Paimon's eyes. Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an... Yep, this should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have not determined the old dog's a real menace to deal with. Even if he abides, he can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. He won't declare war as long as we don't touch... Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. They're all just so evil. Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water. That means this is where they make all the synth. And that special water is the main ingredient. If you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth. But the pure stuff can dissolve a human. Paimon will take notes on this incriminating... What's all this? Aw, it's a pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box. Oh, Paimon sees it too, but... What? Huh? You mean the girls from the serial disappearances? And then they were turned into water, and all the boxes of things. These names. And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the water. Mixing in progress. Ready to drink. Stock. Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep, it's super obvious. What's this over here? Looks like some kind of... Experiment number 16 aims to verify Jacob Ingold's research conclusion. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female... Sorry, Traveler. Paimon will try her best. It's just that Paimon's never read something. How can someone write something that terrible? You read the rest. Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why he did all of these experiments. But did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. You mean Vache is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it! Vache was No, that's not it either! If that's the case, why would he want people to resurface from the water? In any case, Paimon will write it up. We've looked at almost everything here, and it's... Yeah, we haven't found anything that reveals his true identity. No wonder even Neuvillette wasn't able to find anything. Whoever it is probably destroyed everything to do that way. Even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the... Sure thing. Paimon won't admit to... Nothing at all! And Paimon can't even find snacks either! Whoa, really? Let Paimon see! Vinier. Isn't that Vache's lover's name? Then you found her diary! Aw, it's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. She was... So many! A whole page's worth! The final name she decided... Marcel! Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Has this case been hey!
And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vache? Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say that.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Navia! We're back!
As expected of my partner. I just knew you'd return in the nick of time.
Just how often do you intend to flout the rules of this court?
It's all right, Monsieur Neuvillette. Given their confidence, I expect they...
But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vacher.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair and we already know everything! After your lover, Venier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hopes of bringing her back to you. You even created Marcel as a new identity and destroyed all records of your past as Vacher.
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely, and with that, Marcel's motive has now been
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing well, Marcel. You fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention, so you never noticed how we changed.
You also never understood Boss's real expectations.
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself. Otherwise, the trial will move on to the next stage.
Do you really think I wanted to do any of this? Pay attention to you? What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my pain? No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, even the officers from the Mint, they said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone mad from grief. Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, it's too late. You only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of your so-called justice. Your Venier is dead. We promised each other that we would always be together. Wherever she... But I'm not from this blasted place. So I can't be dissolved. No matter...
Hey, is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Do you all see? I can't go! I can't follow! So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have? I did all of that. And in the end, that accursed Callus, I spent my entire life living on pins and needles, only to get stabbed by his...
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please restrain him.
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come near me! Venier! Venier! Please, Venier! Don't think badly of me. All I want to do is fulfill our promise.
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction, the charges against Mr. Tartaglia no longer have any basis.
Fine by me. I was in a bad mood, but after a show like that, I'm actually feeling pretty...
Traveler, please submit all the evidence you have collected to the guards, so that I might review and summarize the truth behind the serial disappearance. The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vacher and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover Venier. During an underwater expedition, Venier accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front of Vacher as a result. Vacher learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research. With a goal to cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poisson. During the course of his research, Vacher discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, he came into conflict with Spina di Rosula. After exchanging blows with Spina di Rosula for many years, Vacher decided to assassinate their president Callus at a banquet. Although the assassination did not go as Vacher expected, he was able to turn Callus into the murder suspect by dissolving the assassin he sent to the scene. And just recently, Vacher attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method. However, his attempt to frame Linny failed, and the power of water from the primordial sea became public knowledge. This case also exposed enough of Vacher's machinations that he was eventually successfully charged. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the serial disappearances case, with the oratrice will now deliver the final verdict regarding the charges against Mr. Vacher. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Vacher is guilty.
Guards! Take Vacher away.
Good. It's what he deserves.
With that, the serial disappearances cases.
We really just witnessed history.
Yippee! We helped Navia bring the bad guy to justice! He's hurt so many innocent people and now he's finally getting what he deserved. Huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolutely brilliant.
The day our late boss had always hoped for has finally come. You can rest easy now, knowing...
Yeah. It's fine. See, Papa? Spina di Rosula's still doing well with me at the helm.
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrongs have been righted, and Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way,
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now? None of this has anything to do with me.
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made regarding the initial charge before the...
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Haven't you already caught the real criminal?
Please respect the laws of Fontaine. This has always been the rule.
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle. All I need to do is stay...
Through evidence presented in the public trial that was just held, it has been established that Mr. Tartaglia has no direct connection to the serial disappearance. The guilty party has been identified, and thus it is logical to suppose Mr. Tartaglia is innocent of the charges. We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Tartaglia is guilty.
What?
Hey! That's not funny! Didn't you just say I'm supposed to be innocent? What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine malfunctioning?
Huh? This has never happened before. The Oratrice actually returned a different verdict from...
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger? Do you think the Oratrice might have just convicted him on Chen?
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't have...
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale is, by law, the final verdict of the court. We must accept the guilty verdict. Guards, please take the suspect into custody per court protocol.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
Hey, Monsieur Novelette, what's going on? Shouldn't they have been cleared already?
Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established at the conception of Fontaine's court system, all I do is follow court procedure. As for why the oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
Why are you looking at me? I had nothing to do with it! I don't know what happened there either! Hey, stop staring at me!
What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's impossible.
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this really be...
My dearest citizens, did you really think we'd allow an incorrect verdict to be handed out in this? Don't tell me. You thought even I had been blindsided by the
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious she had no idea what was going on.
However, given the state of things, I shall give you an explanation. Everything that just took place, and of course, for every performance there is a script. Everything has unfolded if you thought Child had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, it is only because you've been blinded by everything he's done. Not to mention the danger he poses are beyond. All shall be revealed in time. You will come. Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense, it is now time for this.
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just said?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, however, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity. Just...
All right. Even though we feel pretty badly for him, after all, he's done plenty of bad stuff, so he should have known.
Hey, what are you doing? Quick, stop!
Traveler! Hey! Traveler!
Marcel! What are you doing over here?
Stop resisting arrest! Cease, or we'll add another charge to the list!
No, wait! I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Vacher? I erased all records of that name. So, unless...
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up. You've already been convicted.
Really? You did? You're sure? The Fountain of Lucine? Then she's been so close to me all along. Please give me a chance to talk to her again. Just let the Traveler take me to the fountain to see her one last time. This is the last request I'll ever make in my life. You can do whatever you want to me afterwards. I don't care.
What? Give an inch and you want to take a mile? Do you think serial killers get to make requests like that?
Paimon agrees. Why should we give him what he wants when he's only done it?
This request, is it worth as much to you as your life?
Of course! Wait, no. It's worth even more than my life.
Humans. Will they betray the instinct to live just to satisfy spiritual need? Very well. I will grant your request.
Your Honor, I fear that...
I will go with him. You do not need to worry about any escape.
In that case, I shall leave him in your most capable hands, Chief Justice.
Thank you, Your Honor.